Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to Train Sim World, now Train Sim World 2020. And welcome to the Peninsula Corridor DLC. This is the Californian Commuter scenario. And we're about to hop into an F40PH-2CAT CT97, one of 3 locos included with this DLC. That is what's known in the industry as a mouthful. Right. I see a door. There it is. Have never been in this loco. Have no idea what I'm doing. But sometimes it works out better like that. Sit in the engineer's seat. You got it. Unlock the doors. You got it. Unlock on the right. New UI. New color palette. We'll talk a little bit more about what's new in Train Sim World. And we got... Our doors are open. Our doors are open and we are loading. Fantastic. So yeah, this downloaded, for me, it came to 6.1 gig. That is with all the DLC. It took about, end to end, it was close to 2 hours for everything to install. There's a lot of unzipping and zipping. And then about an hour after that, this DLC dropped. And this came in at, I want to say 2.7 gig for me and was maybe 15 minutes to install. I'm excited. I'm excited that there's a West Coast DLC. Bay Area is sort of my neck of the woods. I live about 100 miles to the east of the Bay Area on the other side of the mountains. South Lake Tahoe, although I haven't been home in quite a while. I am on the road. Right. Let's close the doors. There we are. Now, there are a lot of things that are different in Train Sim 2020. Set direction, release the brakes, and apply power to get moving. Yeah, I can do that. Forward. I always want to be going forward. We got independent brake. We have automatic brake. We have dynamic brake. All right. Everything's coming down. Pressure's coming down. Everything good? Here we go. Amps are coming up. There we go. Beautiful. Where are we going? We're going to San Mateo. 4 miles, and it is going on 6:07. So we got about 4 minutes to go 4 miles. Okay, let's make tracks here. So right, what's new in Train Sim World 2020? They optimized. That's the main thing. I guess they optimized more on the CPU side, although the graphics do seem a little bit different. We'll get to that in a minute. But they optimized on the CPU side. You know, this game, all the way back to CSX Heavy Haul, which was the first iteration of Train Sim World. Before it was Train Sim World, it was CSX Heavy Haul. From the jump, there have been complaints about how slow the game runs and that it's really a pig when it comes to FPS, even on super hot rod systems, which I am not running. They've optimized via updates, and each DLC has seemed to have been optimized a little better than the previous one, but the game still runs, I think, pretty slow. Optimization, particularly when you're on PC and console and you're trying to make everything work, can be a handful. It's definitely a challenge for any developer, and some developers do better at it than others. I feel like this has certainly helped. It looks like we've picked up, maybe 7 or 8 FPS. All things being equal. I played with the settings a little bit, graphic settings, before we got started, and anti-aliasing is still a bit of, you can see looking out to the front, and I think they may have picked up some of those FPS by removing particulate and haze and depth of field, because the game, I have to say, looks kind of flat now. It's super contrasty and really just kind of, there's no haze, there's no depth. It just looks almost like a painting. But you know, I'll play with graphics settings off camera and see if I can get things working a little better and doing what I need them to do. But the game is definitely running faster, and there's never anything wrong with that. Also, I have not driven a loco like this in quite a while, so I'm going to be super, super careful with the brakes as we get into San Mateo. We may be a little bit late. I'd rather be late than, you know what I'm saying, wreck the train, be a lunatic. I don't want to do that. So, let me go. Headlights, I said. There we go. We'll go some headlights. I'm going to back the throttle off now, and I am going to slow down a little bit early because we're carrying the mail right now. Goodness. There we go. Start to bring it down just a little bit. Maybe let's bring it down just a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Carefully, concentrating. Don't want to overshoot the platform at my first stop. So yeah, that's on the Train Sim World 2020 side. And then the Peninsula Corridor, there's this loco. There's also a cab car, a gallery cab car, I guess, for the other end of this loco. And then there's also a Union Pacific freight loco, which is going to make the rail fans very happy. They've been asking for some UP. So that is let's do a little bit more braking here. Carefully. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I'm excited, and I like the way that the sim is continuing to evolve. You know, it's an interesting, to me, it's an interesting process seeing Dovetail take Train Simulator, which is, honestly, it's an old franchise, to see them take Train Simulator and sort of reboot it, right, with, we don't want those. Let's get rid of those. I never did like them. To sort of re-up it with Train Sim World. And they are keeping the same model where you've got kind of I don't want to say a basic sim because it's bundled and it does come with DLC, but it's a sim that you can sort of take in whatever direction. No, we don't want to slow down quite that much. I got to pull a little bit forward. Yeah, still learning these brakes. But essentially, if you just want to buy UK routes, just buy UK routes. If you just want to buy German routes, just buy German routes. And there's different bundles you can get that have different routes in them, so you can sort of take the game in whatever direction you want to take it in. I like that, and it works. Because the alternative is to have everything included in one game, but not everybody wants that, right? Not everybody wants to have everything bundled. You see what I mean? It's too big. Rail is too big, and there's too many different kinds of railroads to fit them all in one game. And even if you could, nobody wants to pay $500 for it. Right. Both San Mateo and Hillsdale stations allow workers to commute to and from many office headquarters of some well-known businesses. Okay, fantastic. Do we? They want us to open some doors here? They do. They do. It turns out. There we are. Fantastic. So yeah, I complain about the DLC. With this one, I've got about $350 of DLC for this game in the past 18 months. That's pretty spendy. It's pretty spendy, but I'm doing that because I want to review everything for YouTube. If you just want German, it's a third of that. If you just want UK, right? You see what I'm saying? So, and then even within that, there may be some UK routes that you want and others that you don't, or German routes that you want and others that you don't. So ultimately, at first glance, it looks like a cash grab, but ultimately, when you break it down, or when I break it down, I think that could be the best way to do it. It really could. It could be the way that is the most fair to the customers and also allows the company to make some money, because the idea of putting all this content into one game and selling it for $80, that doesn't sound like a good idea for a business. Right, lock the doors. Lock both, you got it. And once we get rolling here, I'll tell you about those other two locos. Doors are locked. Hillsdale, so brakes off. All right, pressures come up. Good there. we go. So the other two locos are the Gallery Cab Car CT97, that's for the other end of this train, and the GP38. Well, we got 2 UP. That could be 2 UP, that could be 2 up. But that is most definitely a Union Pacific loco, freight loco. So we'll do that probably next episode. But in the meantime, yeah, I'm stoked to have a Bay Area passenger line. This is awesome. Let's get her going here. And there is apparently, well, there's been some other stuff. There've been a ton of bug fixes. I ended up talking about DLC when I wanted to talk more about the update. There've been a ton of bug fixes. There has been optimization. There's been a new menu added, new UI. There's been an entirely different way of approaching services. They're now called timetables, I believe. And there's also something called journeys that brings those timetables together in a longer format, almost like a career mode. And I think that's super cool. It's not for me. That's not how I play. I tend to just do a service and then come back to the sim a few days later or a few weeks later and do another service. I'm not interested in a career mode, but I know some people are. And that sort of thing, you know, like in a racing sim, I play career mode whenever I can. I really like it. But in train sim, it's not for me. For another gamer, for another consumer, it's exactly the opposite, and they really want that career mode. So Dovetail did bring it in. That's cool. The optimization we talked about, the textures and the way the game looks, we'll talk about that. Yeah, it's going to go in the direction. I think it's almost inevitably going to go in the direction of the Train Simulator franchise, and that works for me. So go through here. That works for me in that every year or two, they will freshen up the game, update it, and in the meantime, there will constantly be DLC available. And you know, I know Dovetail could never tell you this. I can say this just as a regular citizen. Dovetail could never tell you this, but you know, if you don't want all the DLC, don't buy it. And I know I see a lot of comments from people saying, you know, this is terrible, all this DLC. Just don't buy it, you know. And I'm not being an ass when I say that. Like, if you don't want to spend that money, just don't buy it. So it is, as I said earlier, I know on the surface it can appear to be a cash grab, but when you look a little deeper, you know, can you come up with a better way for them to have this amount of content for the people that want it without taxing the people that don't want it, or doing a ton of development and then almost giving it away? Brakes coming down, pressure's coming down, okay. Here we go. And this thing is not the most responsive. But we're okay. Except we're 3 minutes late. However, I've taken these trains both in Southern California and in the Bay Area, and they're not known for being super punctual. It ain't Switzerland by any means. So 3 minutes, consider yourself lucky. Right. So we'll get this in here. And yeah, I'll play with this a little bit off camera. I do want to check out that cab car. I definitely want to check out the Union Pacific stuff. Stop right about here. Yeah, a little bit short. See if it gives it to us. It does. And then we'll check and see if we got all of our doors on the platform. Front, definitely. Back. Oh, dear. Yeah. Yeah. What can I say? What can I say? So yeah, I'm stoked about this, and I'm really curious what comes next, and I'm curious when Steam is going to happen. I personally am not into Steam, but I know a lot of people are. So when is there going to be Steam for Train Sim World? Or is there ever going to be Steam for Train Sim World? Hang on, let me have a little bit of water here. Normally I record early in the morning and I'm drinking coffee, but I try not to have coffee or Red Bull after about noon. And it is just coming up on noon, so switching to water. All right, let's get the doors closed. There we go. Doors are closed. Brakes off there. Brakes off there. Oh, there's a cab car coming in. Fantastic. Hey, buddy. Brakes are off. Pressure's good. Here we go. Yeah, this definitely came as a surprise to me. I was not expecting California, and then when California was announced, I thought for sure it would be inland in the mountains. I didn't think it would be out on the coast. So very cool. Very cool. And you know, I talk about this all the time too. I talk about how as gamers we're never satisfied. It's never quite right. It's never exactly what we want. There's always something wrong. There's always something to complain about. There's always something that we want a little bit different. And I think we lose sight sometimes of how awesome these games are and just how much fun they are and how cool it is to be involved in gaming right now. Hang on, I'm going to hop out here. I'm going to hop right out here and do a little screenshot. How about it? Right like there. Fantastic. Yeah, it's not perfect, but nothing is. You know, it's very cool though. It really is. We've got these sorts of things. Hang on. Make sure we're okay up front, and there's not going to be any trouble. We've got these. Yeah, it fascinates me that these types of panels are in a lot of the Euro locos as well, and they don't do anything. This fascinates me. Now apparently they did fix a lot of the display signs and route signs and various things, and I just refer to that generically as housekeeping, but apparently they fixed a lot of that stuff on a lot of different locos and a lot of different routes, and that's stuff that people have really been complaining about. It's not quite a bug. It's not, you know, BSOD or, you know, doesn't delete your profile or something. It's not that kind of a bug. But the game doesn't do what it's supposed to. It's broken, for lack of a better word. Something that is supposed to be there is not there. And that has been really irking a lot of people, but it seems that they have addressed a ton of those. Maybe not all of them, but a ton of them. All right, we're going to start slowing down here. Keep an eye on my brakes. I'm going to start slowing down right there. Now, I know there's probably a better way to do this with dynamic braking, where we would hold speed till we were a little bit closer to the station, but like I said, I'd rather undershoot than overshoot. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's beautiful. That's nice. I love it. We got a window over here. Sure we do. Fantastic. Just that. Okay. So let's get ready to slow down here. Again, carefully. Carefully. There. They've done a lot of things with sound as well. There have been fixes for sound components that were broken or not functioning properly, and then I guess they've also done some tune-up work on audio that was working but that could be made to work better. They've gone ahead and made tweaks and adjustments to get things working in the same way that they optimized various other parts of the game. I guess they optimized some audio components as well. Alright, see if we can get this one right on the numbers. Get the whole train on the platform. That'd be nice. It seems like there's more traffic moving on the streets as well. I think I saw a note to that effect in the changelog. I think that's a thing. Could be. Could be. Right, here we go. Here we go. Those. Better. Better. Unlock the doors. You got it. Unlocking on the right. Let's see if we got the whole train on the platform. Up front, definitely, and the back. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. They're not going to fire me. Not today. What's all this down here? Yeah, this looks very similar to the locos from CSX Heavy Haul. And I think a couple of those locos actually transport over and are used on the NEC DLC as well. This is nice. I like it. I like it. Let's hop back outside again. Take a look at some NorCal. Oh, it's fantastic. Alright, hop back in here. And I think we got one more stop to go. We're going, I don't know if we're going actually to the airport, but I think we're going near the airport. So, off. Lock the doors. Here, right here. Alright. Which is good. Redwood City, 2 miles. There we go. Ah, this is making me homesick. Palm trees, man. I'm a long way from home. So it goes. And what is this? I guess these are our... Okay. It's our power output, our torque, or amps, however you want to categorize it. That's looking a little... That RV is looking a little surgy, you know? A little micro-freezy. So it goes. So it goes. What? 2 miles. Once we get into our final stop, I do want to hop up and take a look around on the other side of this console. I'm curious about a couple of things. Right. We've got a blinking yellow signal. I'm sure that means something. You know, for this just being a passenger train, feeling like we don't have a ton of power. We're maxed out right now, and we're just very slowly accelerating, and all we've got on are some passenger cars, which, as far as I know, they're built to be as light as possible, because they don't ever really need to hold a lot of weight. So start slowing this down. Beautiful. I love it. Right. So back this down to 0. And get ready to slow down in Redwood City. Definitely got a red signal in front of us. So I think that's the end of the line, but it's also something that we obviously want to stop for, or it'll boot us out of the scenario. So we'll be mindful of that. But I think we'll be okay. I think we got a good handle on the brakes. Man, this SUV over here, this RV has been dogging us for miles. I'm starting to feel like some people are following me. Slow this down. Slow these down. Carefully. Yeah, I think this is the end of the line, because it said about 20 minutes for the scenario. We do have a red signal, and we've been going about 24 minutes. So yeah, that's about right for me. I tend to run a little bit long on scenarios, so I think we're done right up here. This is cool, man. This is cool. I'm glad I got this, and I'm really pleased that TSW is continuing to move in the direction that it's moving in. Couldn't be happier. Right. About here. Right about here. I think we might have the back of the train This is Redwood City, which goes by the slogan, by government test, our climate is best. Oh, you know. I mean, it rhymes. Right, unlock the doors. Unlock on the right. You got it. Let's see, did we make it onto the platform? The front, yes. The back, oh. By the skin of our teeth, we made it. All right. Could be better. Yeah, I think this is the end of the scenario. But we'll do, next episode, we'll do some Union Pacific. And then the one after that, we'll do the cab car. And by then, they should have announced the next DLC, because that'll be another week or two before we get all three of those knocked out. But we'll see where we're going next. I wonder about Steam. At some point, they have to, right? Don't they? You would think. I don't know. Maybe they're just taking their time and doing it right. Who knows? And I do have, if you're curious, I do have my settings on, everything's on high. A couple things are on ultra, and I am on the TAA anti-aliasing. FXAA just no good. That's all for now. This service will continue south to San Jose. Fantastic. All right, are we done? Is it going to take us to the new screen? I wouldn't mind seeing what the new... Maybe. I wouldn't mind seeing what the new screen looks like. About the same. Ooh. Now this is new. Stop accuracy is new. The performance graph as far as speeding, this is nice. Okay, so we don't speed at all. That's nice. It shows you how late you were. So 1 minute, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes. Okay. And then, yeah. Okay. Very cool. Very cool, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for our first episode of Train Sim World 2020. This is the Peninsula Corridor DLC. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.